welcome to our second weekly vlog. I'm Anthony, I'm the owner of the retro video game store here in Wexford Town. This week's vlog is about Microsoft and my take on Microsoft killing video game collecting. There's two parts to this. The first one is obviously new generation. As you can see, our PlayStation 5 and 4 titles and our Nintendo Switch titles. You'll notice that we do not have Microsoft products on this wall. The reason why is Game Pass. I think Game Pass, is amazing as it is just for people who just want to play video games, it's horrendous for a retail store owner. It kills the second-hand market as well, because obviously with everything Microsoft are trying to do, they're trying to go digital, which obviously their last two consoles, they've had a digital version of it. I know PlayStation have a digital version of the PS5 now, but Microsoft have been doing this for quite some time. As a retail owner, it is absolutely pointless stocking new generation Xbox stuff. It sits on the shelf for a long period of time because most people literally just click a button and away you go. In terms of being a video game collector, I think what Microsoft have done for me personally is when you look forward into video game collecting, you look at obviously next gen consoles, which would be Gen 11 and even Gen 12. You look back then at that and think, right, we know where Xbox are going. We know Microsoft want to end up being digital only. And we also know at some stage that Nintendo will probably go that way, and Sony are already on the way to doing so. But for me, with Microsoft, it just means that for some of the guys who are on YouTube, they love doing charity shop pickups. They love going to flea markets or markets of any kind anywhere in the world, and they love picking up the bargain, the deal, which obviously in 20 years time, 10, 20 years time, we'd be looking back and probably thinking PlayStation 5 and Xbox are now retro. As scary and as crazy as that sounds, but there'll be limited supplies of games, and while people think that maybe that will increase the value of those games, I actually don't think it will. I think it'll simply just be the beginning of the end for video game collecting. And we know, obviously, as you can see as we walk around the store, that we have our original Nintendo stuff, we have our original Sega stuff. They will increase in value, I know that. I know people talk about a bubble, but people have been talking about a retro video game collecting bubble for almost 10 years. I think with the way Microsoft are going with digital, there will be a cutoff point, and the cutoff point for me will probably be this generation. So probably PlayStation 4 and to a lesser extent PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X or whatever they want to call themselves these days, will be the last real video game physical copy retro collecting. I think after that point, I think you'll see the end of game collecting like we see it now. On a brighter note, PlayStation, obviously, finally, we may be seeing some PS5 consoles coming in. Last year was a pretty much a disaster in terms of PlayStation 5 consoles. I think the only disaster this year is they've increased the price, we believe, in Europe, which obviously includes ourselves, from $499 to $549, and for digital I think it was $399 to $449 as well. They say that's potentially so we'll actually manage to get some extra consoles in the store, but it's scary to think that PlayStation 5 is 2 years old and you still can't walk into a physical store, in Ireland anyway, and walk up to a shelf and pick a PlayStation console off the shelf. In this day and age, I actually think that's utterly disgraceful. I think both Microsoft and PlayStation made such a bad mistake releasing their console kind of in the middle of COVID. They would have been better off for me waiting a year. There's not an amazing amount of titles for either console anyway, so they could have actually held off for a year. It's not as if games would have dropped off the PS4 or Xbox X Series or Series X, whichever way you want to call the last generation. So I think they made the mistake by jumping too soon with a PS5. It's crazy to think that they're talking about a PS5 Pro when they can't even produce a PlayStation 5. But at the end of the day, this one is about Xbox. Is Microsoft killing video game collecting? Personally, yes. Are we ready for digital only? Absolutely not. I think we're probably 10 years away from being digital only. If I look at it from my perspective, where we live in town, well, just slightly out of town in Wexford, and 5 minutes away, people get 1 meg download speed. Is that suitable for digital? Absolutely not. But that's just my take on video game collecting and Microsoft in general. As you can tell, we don't like Microsoft in our store. Again, personal reasons. But if you do like this video, if you want to see more content like this, please check out our channel. Please like and subscribe. And thank you very much.